Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
It's been up since 5:30, so be prepared for me to make no sense at all.
But congratulations are in order.
Thank you. It's a somewhat sleepy Tom Shires.
And a somewhat tired Mike Ireland.
And this is what? And this is the Shires and Ireland agenda on More Music Variety, HWD, Hospital Radio, and on YouTube on the Shires and Ireland Network. They're about More Music Variety. We're about movies and more.
Yes, we are, and this week the more consists of the big three stories from not just the world of movies, also the world of comics as well, unfortunately, this week, for reasons that we will come on to.
Mike Ireland will be turned upside down and inside out during a topsy-turvy edition of our quiz. May contain spoilers. Best of luck.
Islands in the Stream is going to be back as well. We'll talk about the big streaming news and much, much more.
Now. And as Mike just said in the intro, perhaps the biggest, well, undoubtedly, in fact, the biggest story of the week, sadly, is the passing of comic book legend Stan the Man Lee.
Yes, he passed away on Monday of this week at the age of 95, of course, synonymous with Marvel Comics, first starting working for the company way back in the 1930s. He actually technically left the organisation in 1972, but was honorary chairman ever since then, and has been the face of Marvel Comics quite literally, really, in the film series that's is so popular, has introduced him to a much wider audience. But his influence on the entire medium of comics can't really be overstated.
No, Kevin Feige said that I thought he'd live forever, because he is one of those almost kind of immortal type characters that there's never been comic books really without Stan Lee, and it seems strange that we now have to live in a world where that's the case.
Yeah, he's... The actual quality of his writing, per se, has been debated endlessly.
He's a personality, though,
and that's what I was about to say. Yes,
character.
That's what he brought. He brought a sort of ability to tap into the zeitgeist of what was popular in the early 1960s, when comics were on a bit of a downward turn in terms of superhero comics anyway, but in order to respond to the relative success that DC were having with Justice League, he was given something of a free rein.
Sorry, DC success with Justice
League.
Yeah,
exactly.
It happened once.
It did. He was given a free rein to create a superhero team of his own, because this was at a time when Marvel, before they were even called Marvel, back when they were Timely, were focusing on Westerns, Second World War comics, romance and horror. And to try and tap into what DC were doing, he was given a free rein to create a new superhero team, and taking some influence from the horror comics, but also from the teen comics that he'd been working on. He came up with the Fantastic Four, and they revolutionised the genre with the whole idea of...
Fantastic Four? Revolutionised?
Yeah, quite. Revolutionised the genre with the whole idea of heroes that have got not just foibles, but have got flaws, and they've got interesting character elements that mean they clash just as much as they cooperate in terms of saving the day, but they come together when it counts.
A friend of mine said that this is almost selfish, that I wonder if he's filmed his cameo for Infinity War Part 2, but we're aware that he was filming them en masse, wasn't he, on account of his age and the kind of toll that flying was taking.
They're rumoured to be about 6 that he's filmed. I think it's already been suggested that he hasn't filmed the one for Dark Phoenix, but we assume for the actual MCU films there are lots in the can. I don't really figure out, I don't understand how they can plan ahead to the extent that they know what sort of cameos they're going to want him to do, but will there just be an argument to say Infinity War Part 2, whatever it ends up being called, is going to be that big, have that as the final one?
Maybe. I think maybe they just go generic in the sense of they know that something's going to be blown up by aliens, so let's have man pointing at sky or man hiding and the like. But as we say, legend both in the comic book world and in entertainment in general, and he's going to be sorely missed.
Yeah, given the way that film, as we've discussed on this programme many a time before, has kind of been reshaped, and the film industry's kind of been reshaped by what the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done. It just makes Stan Lee's influence and the whole idea of a shared superhero universe in a much more coherent way than DC have historically had for different reasons, and I think there's strength in DC's more mashed together approach than there is in Marvel's planned out one as well. But he's going to have a huge influence in film for years to come as well, I would suggest. Remember, with great agenda comes great responsibility.
You're listening to the Shires and Ireland Agenda. Shires and Ireland Agenda, more music variety, HWD, Hospital Radio, also on the Shires and Ireland Network on YouTube. And here, with the big news, is an even bigger Mike Ireland.
Thank you. I'm massive, unlike Tom Cruise. Now, action hero Jack Reacher is going to get a new film, or possibly, in fact, it does seem more like a TV series coming. But that means no more Tom Cruise playing the 6'5" former US, I think he's a Marine or a Ranger.
Past
even.
tense.
Yes, but
is it past tense? Is that the name of the new book? Sorry.
Is it genuinely? Is that what you think it is?
We had the conversation. Off air earlier about what the new book is called, because I keep walking past the ads for it when I'm walking to work, and I believe it might be past tense, which doesn't sound like Jack Reacher in past tense. It sounds like something I've written.
But then again, it does sound like it would be a good final film for a trilogy, and that Never Go Back was the second one, Past Tense is the third and last one. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Should we send it there?
Yeah, I think we really should. No, Lee Child, the author of the series, has finally admitted that Tom Cruise, who played him in the aforementioned two films, too short to play the 6'5" character as described in the book.
Well, why does it take him to admit it? I mean, it's obvious, isn't it?
But this is the important point, isn't it? That does it depend on the character, but does physicality play an important part?
I think with a character like Jack Reacher, it certainly does. But it's difficult because you're an author, they've optioned your book for movies, and the last thing you want to do is affect your own money coming in, really.
Yeah.
In the same way that I remember Dan Aykroyd being so positive about Ghostbusters, who you're going to call, because effectively it's his pension, isn't it?
It really, by the way, Dan Aykroyd talking about a possible another Ghostbusters film with the three remaining original Ghostbusters.
That'd be great. They also talked about doing an animated version.
Did they?
With the four in them. Yeah.
Okay, that would be
CG.
Something to see. But yes, Lee Child saying Cruise, for all his talent, didn't have that physicality. I really enjoyed working with Cruise. I don't know why he's not calling him Tom. He's a really, really nice guy. We had a lot of fun, but ultimately the readers are right. The size of Reacher is really, really important, and it's a big component of who he is. The idea that when Reacher walks into a room, you're a little nervous for the first minute. You'd be a little nervous if Tom Cruise walked into a room.
Absolutely. How's that door opened itself?
Very much so. But yes, he's talking about the idea that there's going to be a possible involvement by fans in picking the new star.
Oh, okay, that's a lot of trust. I mean, that's an honour. That's great, but worrying.
Don't you think sometimes casting contrawise to how a character is depicted in a different medium might actually be the way to go?
Maybe, but the Cruise films made money, didn't they?
Yes,
they weren't like smash hits, but they.
Because authors don't always know. You know, the famous thing about Ian Fleming not liking Sean Connery when he was cast as James Bond, and eventually came round to his performance.
Yeah. Did the comic strips exist before the films? The serialised versions. I was wondering, because did they draw him to like Sean Connery, or did Sean Connery look like the drawn James Bond?
Well, no, he doesn't. He doesn't look like the character as described in the book. There's this whole thing about him having a collar of dark hair falling over his head. He's actually described in the book specifically as looking like
Superman.
Hoagie Carmichael, who was I think a composer from the 1930s, but it's multiple times in the books they describe as looking like this particular man. Seems a strangely specific thing to put, but that's what they did.
Tom Shires, Mike Ireland, Born Again.
I like that.
Did they call it that?
They should, because
with a bit of an eye roll emoji afterwards.
they've tried Bourne Legacy to sort of signify it's different, but ultimately they went back to Jason Bourne in the end. We don't know what they're going to do for the
it's going to be a Treadstone series, or definitely a Jason Bourne series.
It's called Treadstone,
right,
but it sounds like it's one of these ones that is dealing with the impact, and also I think it's possibly going to be a prequel of working out where the Treadstone organisation came from.
We know, we've seen all the flashbacks.
We do, really. Has anyone tried to put the Bourne films together in chronological order using the flashbacks?
YouTube.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
So the USA Network has cast the two leads of its forthcoming Bourne spin-off series. Jeremy Irvine, who you and I know as young Pierce Brosnan from Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
Out on November 26th. I only know that because I've promised Mrs. Shires it for date night.
Okay.
She's seen it at the cinemas, but I haven't seen it yet.
Also, he was the lead in Warhorse, the human lead.
Yeah.
He's going to play, and I do have to say, I like this name, J. Randolph Bentley.
Right.
It's
not a very hero kind of...
No, it isn't, but I'm wondering if it's a prequel, is it going to be set in... I could see J. Randolph Bentley in the 70s.
Maybe. If it's following maybe Bourne's dad, spoiler alert, in all his shenanigans.
He's going to play a spy dispatched by the CIA to eliminate a key target, but ends up embroiled in an international conspiracy, which basically sounds like...
Bourne again.
Sense 8, meanwhile, Alum, Brian J. Smith, will play Doug McKenna, an American oil rig worker whose life changes after he discovers long-buried truths about himself.
Born to Kill?
Oh, yeah, that would work.
Yeah.
That would work. Both are series regulars. It's a spin-off of the film franchise, of course, and I don't know.
Born to be Wild.
It is the... Has Jason Bourne... or just the Bourne series generally,
Born Ready,
got enough that is original about it now?
No,
because
they've made one film, but they've made two films too many. Legacy and Jason Bourne. Retread. Talk about Treadstone. Retreadstone.
Because the impact that the original trilogy had was huge, but it has kind of been sucked up and sucked into the spy genre and has filtered into everything else. And because it's done that, it actually doesn't have the original...
Jason Bourne, you're just not special enough anymore. But no, you're right, because Bond took notes from it, Mission Impossible's taken notes from it. But story-wise, I mean, to be fair, the fact they made 3 films was a minor miracle, because effectively, the second one is the last one.
Yeah.
It's just, Jason Bourne, here's another secret you don't know about yourself. Oh, flashback. Oh, I'm a hurt man. Oh... government official, bit dodgy, let's do something. Jason Bourne was still a nice action film, but not worthy of those that came before it.
And I think that the idea of putting that on the small screen, it just stretches it out even more, doesn't it? Because you've got so many episodes to keep track of, when really it's just another 24, or what was it, Burn Notice that you referenced a couple of weeks ago, or Spooks. They've all
24 Legacy?
Didn't watch 24 Legacy. Was it any good?
It was alright.
Was that an actual series, or was it a...
It was a short form series, so I think there were 12 episodes.
12?
Yeah.
12 times 2 Legacy.
Welcome back. You've been blinded by the light all night, Mike. Are you ready for the final round?
Am I still Prime Minister?
For this week's grand prize, some green eggs and ham. Your category is, I'll give the answers, thank you. To celebrate the release of The Grinch, I'll give you the answers, and they are all children's books.
Okay.
All you have to do is give me an appropriate, and I stress that, creative, original, and hopefully amusing question for each answer. There are bonus points for just how creative you can be with these answers, questions, and the round ends before it's even begun. Are you ready to begin?
No.
Finish! 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish.
Name a film that has got fish and numerals in the title.
It's a question. It's certainly not creative. What's for tea for that tonight, Mother? Mr. Tickle. The Magic Finger.
What would a magician point with?
Oh yes, Mr. Tickle. Do you want to go back?
Not unless it's post-war shed.
Stickman.
What was the name of the character voiced by Martin Freeman in the film from the same name?
Nice. Okay. The Very Hungry Caterpillar.
Name a children's book that scares children.
Do you think?
I've known some children that are scared of it, yeah.
Why? Is it the transformation?
I think it's the transformation element.
Not the fact that it's eating the book.
No, I don't think so. I think it's transformational.
That's the best bit, isn't it?
No, they don't. They don't like it.
Dear Zoo?
How would you address a letter to a possible holiday visiting destination?
Inspired. Where the wild things are.
Where would you like to go?
Guess how much I love you.
If I were to ask you to tell me your level of adoration in a reverse form, how would you do it?
Mind-bending. Pat the bunny. Apparently it's huge, by the way. Not the bunny, the sails.
I would like you to to console this rabbit. Please confirm that you understand the question.
Stick in the dump.
Which popular book did David Walliams develop a funny way of pronouncing on Little Britain?
Did he?
Stick in the Damps.
Oh, Stick in the Damps.
Stick in the Damps.
Which
yeah.
series? Later series.
I think it was the first. I think
Was it?
I think it was. Yeah, it was definitely a Lou and Andy sketch.
I just don't remember. We're going on a bear hunt.
Where are you going?
It's so basic, it's amazing. And finally, that's not my baby.
I have found a child. Is it your child?
Congratulations, Mike. It's a baby win.
Here they are. The agenda.
You're listening to the Shires and Ireland agenda. Mike, who's Stormzy?
Stormzy is a popular grime artiste.
What's grime?
It's something that's often associated with Greece and grime. No, it's a form of urban music that is now very hip.
But not hop.
Not hop.
Pat the money?
Stormzy, huge success, of course, over the last couple of years, and it's now been confirmed that he's going to be headlining at Glastonbury in 2019 on the Pyramid stage. I suppose is this a moment when grime has really had a break? I mean, he's won Brit Awards. He's in huge success in terms of record sales and the like, and there's even sort of, I think he's got a book out at the moment, and he's spoken about politics, and he was particularly vocal and understandably so on the subject of the Grenfell fire. But is this a moment where it's almost become mainstream? If you can be the headliner at a rock festival, which is in effect what Glastonbury is, that's it. There are no boundaries for you anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's effectively Grime's coming out party, isn't it? Because I know what kind of artist Stormzy is. I was being flippant at the start, and it is a seemingly unlikely choice. But then again, the more popular a particular type of music comes, is that what Glastonbury is?
Yes, it is. I think
it is effectively a populist and popular music festival, isn't it?
I mean, what's the Sunday afternoon?
It's like Lionel Richie and Shirley Bassey and
Brian Wilson and the like. So they're clearly, obviously, have historically gone for a range of acts. But the idea of the big act on the big stage on one of the big nights being a grime artist is something you probably wouldn't have imagined 3, 4, 5 years ago. Therefore, have we got to accept that music is perhaps moving away from rock?
Guitar bands are done, Mr. Epstein.
Yeah, very much so. In that, when Emily Eavis, the daughter of, is it
Mike?
I would say Michael Eavis.
Yeah, Michael, yeah. I call him Mike.
Okay. Was talking earlier on in the week about potential headliners, hinting at potential headliners. The ones that she was talking about...
Does she organise it then?
She is basically the organiser.
I know that it's his field, but does then he ring up and say, hello, is that Stormzy? Would you like to sing in my field?
I really am Michael Eavis. Yeah, I suppose so. But no, when she was talking earlier on in the week about potential acts that she would have been interested in seeing, but she was pretty much saying these aren't the ones for next year. Likes of Fleetwood Mac, Led Zeppelin, Tom Waits. These are older acts. Where is the next Fleetwood Mac? Where is the next Led Zeppelin? Well, is it Stormzy? Is it a completely different genre of music? And the idea of even the Coldplay coming along now seems to be...
Yeah, bands aren't really a thing, are they?
Yeah. And I just wonder, is that something that we're going to be getting used to? And also, don't want to go streaming too much again, but has the way that music is accessed now changed it? Because I think a lot of new bands say it's incredibly hard to get their music across now because people have got access to music, downloading the odd single or a whole album from acts that were around 20, 30, 40 years ago, and it's all there for them in a way that they would have to go and look through a record shop's back catalogue to find what they were looking for before. So I just wonder about that. And also, are you interested in festivals anyway?
I love music and I love live music, but I'm just not comfortable with the lack of hygiene.
But would you like the idea of
If I could stay in a local Premier Inn and then just be shipped in, kind of on a shuttle bus or something, I'd like that.
But would you appreciate the variety? Because we just touched upon the fact there that...
Yeah, you get bang for your buck, absolutely.
Yeah.
If I can see the best new act and some legends and some undiscovered acts as well, then absolutely you can't argue with the value for money. But a bit of mud on my wellies is fine. Anything else, I'm really not happy with that. Buy my new album. It's called The Beatles.
That's a ring-out for us there.
More from him at Christmas.
Very much so, yeah, I look forward to that. Talking about the fact that there's a reissue of the White Album that is being released.
What's new, Mike?
Right about... Well, it's 50 previously unreleased recordings of songs from the album, in addition to the Esher demos that were recorded at George Harrison's.
Oh,
house.
yeah, famous.
4 editions, 3 CD deluxe set containing the original double album and 1 CD of Esher demos, a 7-disc super deluxe edition which adds 3 CDs of outtakes and a Blu-ray disc, a 2 LP edition comprising the original release, and a 4 LP edition, 2 discs of which contain the Esher demos. There was a preview that was released back in the USSR on streaming services a couple of months ago. Is it something that grabs you? It's Rory Martin that is the...
I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
Son of
George Martin.
For me, I am a Beatles fan, but I wouldn't call myself a Beatle maniac. And that's the difference, I think. So for me...
You're a fanatic, not a maniac.
Yeah.
You're older.
So I got the original CD versions that were the only versions we had for many, many years.
Yep.
We then got Beatles 1, which was huge, wasn't it? And the anthologies were somewhere in between of those, which, to be honest, for me is my fill of here's what the Beatles classics could have sounded like.
Yeah.
You then get the live at the BBC albums, you get Love from the Cirque du Soleil. So by the time we get around to, here's some more of Sgt. Pepper that you've not heard, or here's some more of the White Album that you've not heard, as a fan and not a maniac, I'm fine.
Well, I was going to say,
I'm fine with what I've got.
Does there come a point, and this doesn't just go for music, it could go for film or books or anything, where you actually go, look, there's probably a reason the artist didn't put it out at the time.
For example, case in point, Lord of the Rings extended editions.
I dispute that.
Well, edit that. You can outstay your welcome, and I think you're quite right that is it just a case of, we'll keep that on the shelf because that's going to be a big money spinner in a few years, or is it a case of just, they'll buy anything?
I think it probably is a case of they'll buy anything.
But then again, I've not heard any of these things. It might be the best thing ever, Mike.
Okay, but does the fact that John and George aren't around anymore have a part to play in your feeling? If they were coming out and saying, we're totally in favour of this. Also, I don't know, by the way, I'm not au fait with the whole complex nature of the Beatles record contracts situation, but would Paul and Ringo have had any influence in agreeing to put this out, or would this be something that, the record company owns it so they can do what they want with it?
I personally can't see them having been that involved. It doesn't hurt either of them, of course it doesn't, but I'd be very surprised if they've been kind of curating the whole thing. They might give an almost like Royal Ascent style blessing, say, that's great, man.
Ring out back again.
Peace and love. But they won't have been sat in the studio with the headphones on kind of tweaking things. I just think they're kind of beyond that.
Okay. But
it's like, imagine someone saying, you know that bit of work you did? like 40 odd years ago. Do you want to come in and do? No.
But by the same
I'm doing today's work.
But by the same token, you wouldn't feel put out by someone else.
Put out by someone lining my pockets with lots of lovely, lovely cash. Disgusting.
Also, Ringo, I think, is going on tour again next year.
Absolutely, all-star band.
Where have they been banned from?
Everywhere.
It's round, it's purple, it shows you what to view. It's Mike's Big W.
And nowhere. Just covering ourselves for the lawyers.
Okay then.
As far as we're aware, Ringo Starr and his all-star band have not been declined entry to any premises, to the best of our knowledge.
Yeah, we don't want to go too broad, but yeah. So then, it's time for Freeview Film of the Week.
Yeah, it is.
You're not doing it?
No.
Not doing it, which is also known as Mike's Big W for reasons.
Random recommendation.
That will not become clear, and random recommendations as well. But we're actually going to start this week with a film that is on
Freeview Film of the Week.
On Saturday evening at 10 to 7.
6:50.
And that is Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace on ITV.
ITV. Channel 3.
Thank you. We don't usually talk about ones that are on this
all bad films
on in the week, but I think the reason they're putting it on, and this is just pure speculation on my part, is I would bet Episode 2 is on the following Saturday evening, Episode 3 the Saturday after that, and I think they're working their way through it, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if The Force Awakens is going to be ITV's Christmas film.
Have you felt it?
I haven't got the TV catalogue yet, but when it comes out, I will most definitely feel it. So, would you...
And scroll on it.
Would you put that on Christmas Day afternoon if you were on TV? Or would you think most people tend to watch the BBC on Saturday?
Well, the Beatport, do we know? Something Marvel?
Might well be. But
Disney are laughing, aren't they?
If you remember, last year, ITV's big Christmas film was Jurassic World, but they put it on Boxing Day evening. So they might well do the same with The Force Awakens, I would suspect.
Not sure how much of an afternoonish film Force Awakens is. This is a TV edit. Some quite dark elements.
There are indeed, but it's Christmas time. There's no need to be afraid. Talking about Christmas
time, we let light and we banish shade.
Yeah,
my young apprentice. He's not been on for a bit, has he?
No, he hasn't. Making a comeback. Same week.
Ralph will be in a minute.
Same week.
I'm already here. Oh, sorry, I didn't realise he's in the corner, Mike.
Same week as Ringo as well. All the voices. Lethal Weapon.
He does all the voices.
Talking about Christmas films, Lethal Weapon gets its
TV series.
No, the original film.
Oh, they made films, did they?
They made. Well, have you seen the
TV series? Is amazing.
Have you?
No, it's awful, Mike.
Okay. Yes, we're talking about the original Riggs and Murtaugh, that is to say Mel Gibson and Danny Glover in Richard Donner's Lethal Weapon, 1987. It came out, but it is on Saturday evening at 9 p.m. on 5 Spike.
5 Spike? 5 Spike is...
You did get a 5 Spike.
Stood on a spike. 5 Spike is 31.
Wow.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. You're messing with me.
Write it down.
Where?
I wrote it down in brackets afterwards, just in case. You got it, yeah? 31, congratulations.
I didn't even try.
So, yeah, it's one of the great buddy action comedies of the
and a Donner film, right? It completely passed me by. It was
Richard
Lethal
Donner.
Weapon, the movie.
Yeah, he did lots. He had a range, Richard Donner, and sometimes get forgotten. Moving on to Saturday evening at 10 past 10 on ITV4.
Doesn't have a 4. Oh no, it's one of the Channel 4 ones. Doesn't have a 4 in it. ITV4 is channel number 9.
24.
Oh, it does have a 4 in it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Goodfellas.
Spike! I got that one right.
Goodfellas.
Can't take it away from me.
Martin Scorsese's sprawl. It's a sprawling epic, but it's a sort of darkly comic epic.
I don't do gangsters.
No, I suppose it wasn't that. Could you do Ringo as a gangster?
I'll certainly make you an offer you can't refuse.
I like it.
When was the last time you invited me round to your house for tea? You come to me on my daughter's wedding day.
Do Ringo and Barbara Bach have any children? Or is it just Zach? He's not left from that marriage, is he?
No, he's not. No.
He's not, no, okay. Let's move on from Goodfellas. We're going to film number... The Day the Earth Stood Still on, appropriately enough...
This show's standing still, never mind.
On Sunday morning at 10:15
It's the
a.m.
original Bernard Herrmann scored one, not the Keanu Reeves
Yes, very much
remake.
so. We're going for the incredibly influential Robert Wise, another director, by the way, who had an enormous amount of range, because Robert Wise would go on to direct Star Trek: The Motion Picture, but he'd already directed... I think West Side Story by this point, and Sound of Music, and yet he also made The Day the Earth Stood Still. So
excellent theremin, by the way. Herman, by the way, not Wise. I mean, he might have one. They might share one.
It's on More 4, as I say, which is channel number...
Channel number... Quite new, isn't it? 38.
It's channel number 14.
Ooh.
Very much.
So that one does have a 4 in it.
It does have a 4 in it, yeah. Next week we're going to be talking at length about Robin Hood, because the new Robin Hood film is coming out, starring Taron Egerton. But on Sunday on ITV2...
Channel number... I peaked with the spike, didn't I?
You did, really, yeah.
Channel ITV2...
There's a lot of people who peak with spikes.
Take your point. ITV2 is channel number 6.
Correct.
Is it? Spike!
8 p.m. It's Robin Hood, as played by Russell Crowe. And when you look back on who...
It's not that bad a film either.
It's not great, but it's not bad. And when you look at the cast, you sort of do feel disappointed that it wasn't much better than it should have been. Russell Crowe, Kate Blanchett, William Hurt, Mark Strong, Mark Addy, Oscar Isaac. It was a sort of fade.
Why'd you got Mark Addy?
He's a good actor.
Fred Flintstone.
He's a good actor. Addy Christmas, everybody. Danny Houston, Eileen Atkins, Matthew McFadden. Great range of actors and actresses also. Leah Seydoux, of course, went on to be in Spectre.
Is she the Doctor Inspector?
The Doctor Inspector. A very senior. Hello,
who's Doctor's here to inspect you? Spike!
So yes, that's ITV2.
Can we end this, please?
We worked out channel number 6. Our preview film of the week, however, is on Saturday on BBC One at 10:20.
Channel 1.
David Brent, Life on the Road.
Oh.
It was a box office flop. Any particular reason you think it didn't do so well? Was it too long? 2016 it came out, and of course the last episode of The Office was 2005-ish, was it?
Yeah, fair gap.
Too long? Too unrelated to the rest of the series, because none of the other characters appear, it's just David Brent, but then he was the...
Yeah, but is it one of those where actually the character works because...
The context.
The context and the kind of foil of the idea of the interactions with other characters, whereas that character in isolation, once again, too much of a good thing.
And also the very fact that it was based around the music, too much of a good thing. The Free Love Freeway as being an embarrassing song that David Brent has written and plays as a one-off thing in an episode.
Yeah.
Very funny. But having a whole 90 minutes or however long it is out of it. But make your own minds up, as I say. Saturday, BBC One, 10:20.
It is a mash.
It is a movie mash.
A movie mash.
A movie mash-up.
It is a mash.
It is a movie
A
mash.
movie mash.
A movie mash-up.
Returning to Earth, only to find the planet under an epic extraterrestrial threat. Admiral James T. Kirk and the crew of the recently destroyed Starship Enterprise must travel back in time to the 1990s in search of the only beings capable of saving the 23rd century. 3 talking pets, lost and confused in the city by the bay. Starring William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, DeForest Kelly, and the vocal talents of Sally Field and Michael J. Fox. It's a movie mashup.
Alright, it's a movie mashup. So it's Star Trek... Is it Undiscovered Country?
No. The idea of these...
Generations.
No, the idea of these movie mashups...
Could we have done this bit before we were recording?
We may. No, I like the idea of going into it.
All right.
Is that they're movie mashups of the plots of 2 films whose titles run into one another.
I'm struggling to identify the Star Trek film though, so it's...
Okay.
Go back in time to the 1990s. Not Generations then?
No. Back in time to the 1980s.
So not Undiscovered Country. What was the other one called? Motion Picture, Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock. And the fourth is there a fourth one?
There's a fourth one before the fifth one, yeah.
Yeah, the fourth
It doesn't go Star Trek 3.
Numerically.
Okay.
So Michael J. Fox is in it as well.
Yeah. You've got two things to go at. Which
Back
one?
to the... No, it can't be, can it? Teen Wolf?
Not Teen Wolf. Do you want to say what it...
Oh, he did... Oh, what's the other thing he did? The kind of coming-of-age thing. Is that...
What? It's not Back to the Future, no.
No, there's another one where he... Oh, he's the lead in something awesome. Help me out with the first Star Trek one.
Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home.
Okay. The Voyage Home... I was going to say Home Alone. He's not in that.
He's not in that.
Macaulay Culkin.
Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home Alone would be quite good. Do you want to go?
Go on.
Star Trek 4, The Voyage Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco.
Oh, gracious.
Okay. When a young outback boy sees his new best friend, a golden eagle, held hostage by a group of mercenaries aboard a stolen battleship, only everyone's favourite pair of mice, a playboy playmate, and a cook with more to him than meets the eye, can save the day. Starring Steven Seagal, Tommy Lee Jones, Gary Busey, and newcomer Erica Eleniak, and featuring Bob Newhart, Ava Gabor, John Candy, and George C. Scott.
Okay. So it sounds like... Is it Under Siege?
It is Under Siege.
Under Siege... Animated film, John.
It's an animated film. John Candy, Ava Gabor, Bob Newhart.
It starts with a J.
No. Well, it could be the way around.
Rescue Us Down Under Siege.
Yeah, the Rescue Us Down Under Siege.
Oh yeah, who's laughing now? Nobody.
It's to be shown as a double bill with Jean-Claude Van Damme, Don Bluth animated classic, The Land Before Time Cop.
Yes.
Next one. In this heartwarming shaky cam tale of family, friendship, and baseball, a savage monster will learn the true meaning of America's favorite game. If you level it, he will come.
All right, so that's Field of Dreams. The Savage Monster.
Savage monster.
So Dreams.
Shaky cam.
Shaky cam. Oh, Cloverfield of Dreams.
Cloverfield of Dreams, very much.
It's quite hard, this, isn't it?
I think it's a challenge, yeah. Do you want another one?
Yeah.
Okay. When a cynical weatherman gets caught up in a terrifying climatic changing event, hilarity ensues again and again and again in this classic comedy disaster from Roland Emmerich.
Groundhog Day After Tomorrow.
It is correct.
Yeah. I'm in the swing now.
You loved him in the original, and now everyone's favourite emigre Russian mouse is back and in love. In a story inspired by William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, there may be no cats in America, but there are sharks. Produced by Steven Spielberg, directed by Robert Wise and Jerome Robbins, and with music by Leonard Bernstein.
So it sounds like one of those Fievel Goes West type things. Russian mouse.
Yeah. He's actually Russian. Fievel is a Russian mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it something to do with that?
No.
But then we've got Jaws in there.
You've got sharks in there.
Not Jaws, though.
Not sharks. Robert Wise was a bit of a clue as a director, and Leonard Bernstein providing the score.
Bernstein.
I actually mentioned the film earlier on. I haven't just realised it.
You were talking about... Can't remember. Robert Wise... Oh, this is painful.
Okay, you actually got the right Fievel film.
All right. Fievel Goes West... Westworld. No.
would work.
Fievel
Goes
Goes West. Why can't I remember things?
An American Tale, Fievel Goes West Side Story.
Oh, embarrassing.
Okay. In this Alfred Hitchcock adaptation of William Shakespeare's timeless romantic comedy thriller, James Stewart stars as Benedict, opposite Doris Day's Beatrice, a quick-witted couple who spar verbally while trying to arrange their best friend's wedding, track down their kidnapped son, and foil a political assassination. Also featuring Brenda de Banzi, Denzel Washington, Michael Keaton, and Keanu Reeves as Don John.
Hitchcock with James Stewart in it. Rear Window?
No, good film. No.
I just have to start naming Hitchcock films. It's not North by Northwest. Topaz.
No, go, wow.
Marnie?
You get points for Topaz, though.
Yeah.
You just...
Dial M for Murder.
No.
Psycho.
No.
That wasn't that. Strange on a Train's not one of his, is it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Go on. Clue.
Oh, the man who.
Also, the man who knew too much. 'Cause
Yeah,
the man who knew too
yeah,
little is
right,
the
yeah,
other one.
right.
So the man who knew too.
And remember, I said William Shakespeare's timeless romantic comedy.
The man who knew too much. I've been up since half 5. The man who knew too much ado about nothing.
Yes. Okay. When writer Will, Hugh Grant, runs out of ideas, he takes inspiration from not only his latest star-crossed love affair, but also those of his friends, and learns that romance comes in all different shapes and sizes in this delightful, Christmas-themed, period romantic comedy.
Okay, so Hugh Grant. Because I was thinking, is it about a boy? But then
When writer Will.
Notting Hill. Writer Will. Oh, is it for weddings? Is he a writer? of that?
No, writer Will. Period romantic comedy.
Writer Will.
Right.
You getting this?
Will as in capital W, it is his name, the name of the character that Hugh Grant is playing, in a period film.
Oh, okay. That makes no sense.
Christmas themed as well. That's from the other
He's in
film.
a Christmas. Oh, that's from the other film.
Yeah.
He's in a period film. Is he in some kind of Austen-y type thing?
No.
Is he in some kind of Dickens-y type thing?
Older, much older.
What? Older than Dickens?
Yeah. Wrote Much Ado About Nothing.
Right, so that's William Shakespeare.
Correct.
I'm aware of his work.
He's playing William Shakespeare.
Hugh Grant played William Shakespeare.
No! In the mashup, Hugh Grant is playing William Shakespeare.
Right. Shakespeare in Love Actually?
Yes! You knew that you were having me on.
Am I a winner?
You're a winner.
Run away with me to another place, another world.
A whole new world.
Unbelievable skies.
Shining, shimmering, splendid.
Indescribable feelings. Soaring, tumbling, beneathling through a necklace diamond sky.
A whole new world.
Don't you dare close your eyes.
A whole new world? Does it just repeat?
Is this available on the soon-to-be available Disney Plus?
Oh, is it called Disney Plus?
Yeah.
I read it as Disney Ad.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it is.
Disney's finally given a name to its upcoming...
Hugh Grant is Will Shakespeare.
to its upcoming streaming platform, and it is Disney Plus. Still no launch date or price. For
I saw
the,
December.
Did
December
it?
in the US. I've seen somewhere.
That's very soon, isn't it?
Yeah, all I have to do is like drag the files across, don't they?
Drag and drop. Have they got a Dropbox?
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as the server's good enough, they've got enough memory, should be all right.
Disney CEO Bob Iger announced the name during the company's fourth quarter earnings call last week. Disney Plus, along with housing titles from Disney brands including the likes of Marvel, Pixar, Lucasfilm, National Geographic, which is joining the Disney fold through its acquisition of 20th Century Fox, is also going to feature a number of original productions. The biggest one Disney's confirmed so far, a Rogue One prequel series starring Diego Luna.
Good character as well. Are you aware of his work?
Of the work of the character or the actor?
The character.
The character, no. He's some sort of spy, some sort of rebel spy.
In essence, he's very much of the Han Solo type, but what was brilliant about Rogue One was that it dealt with the fact that actually the rebellion's not whiter than white.
Okay.
That sometimes the good guys have to play dirty in order to keep up with the bad guys. And Cassian is very much a character who's lost everything, so we might end up seeing how his life changed on account of the Empire, and how he's now willing to effectively take them down at any cost, which he doesn't feel that Jyn Erso is prepared to do. So he can play dirty.
So I'm assuming if it goes well, it could continue into a sequel series.
Absolutely it could. Spoiler alert, no.
No, it won't be. And of course, the previously announced The Mandalorian, a live-action Star Wars series helmed by Jon Favreau, filming at the moment. It's animation veteran Dave Filoni who's directing the pilot episode.
What a guy he is as well.
He's only ever done animation, though, I think I'm right to say before, so do you think he's going to make the transition?
Yeah, because the fact of the matter is that he's a great storyteller, so nothing's going to get in that guy's way.
Bryce Dallas Howard's directing one, Taika Waititi, Rick Famuyiwa, and Deborah Chow as well. It's also been confirmed this week that Chilean-born Pedro Pascal is going to be playing probably the lead, it seems to be the lead, in The Mandalorian, which is set between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. Pedro Pascal, his highest profile roles to date in Game of Thrones, also in, is it Netflix's series Narcos?
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, and he's going to be playing an as yet undisclosed character in Wonder Woman 1984. But yeah, his performance on Game of Thrones certainly shows
everyone's in that.
He's got a charismatic presence, and you're certainly not going to forget him all the way he leaves the show.
Want to talk about it?
You know that grey watershed? Forget the grey watershed. The watershed isn't. It's not grey. The watershed is not grey when he leaves. Mainly red and splattery.
Oh.
Okay.
Sorry, kids.
Also going to be featuring Gina Carano, who has been an MMA star, mixed martial arts star, moved into acting with Haywire back in, I think it was around 2011, 2012. It's directed by Steven Soderbergh, and since been in the Fast and Furious films, certainly Fast and Furious 6 and Deadpool. She's been in the first Deadpool film, so she's an actress with presence, if not necessarily range.
Just got a good arm though.
She probably does. So did you think it was a good decision for Disney to double down on Star Wars for this?
Yeah, I think they have to, just because of the nature of business and share prices and stockholders and all these dividends, quarter means things, they have to steal money away from Netflix. And we were only talking the other week, weren't we, about the gains that Netflix are making worldwide. I can't remember the number, but it was phenomenal business that they're doing. So they have to make their service as attractive as is possible, and it's going to have to do it because for me, as someone who's grown up liking Disney, grown up liking Star Wars, Indiana Jones, I already have access to all that stuff. So you need to sell me something new. So top quality content has to be the way forward.
But wouldn't there be a better case of saying we've got this series in development rather than we're actually going straight through to casting and all that sort of stuff? Because wouldn't you like to see how...
Would you pay for a series that's in development?
No, but because a Star Wars TV live action series is such a big departure from what the series has done before.
Kind of a big deal.
I would like to see how it is received before I started off on another one as well, a different spin-off. Where it sounds like they're both going to be exploring the seamier underbelly of the Star Wars universe. Wouldn't it have been a bit interesting to have something that went in a completely different direction?
What else? What do you want to see, Mike Ireland?
I don't know.
Pitch it to me.
Does it need to involve the rebellion at all? Or does it need to involve the fight against the Empire? Couldn't it be something completely different? I suppose The Mandalorian perhaps doesn't necessarily.
Well, yeah, because that's kind of it's post both of those things, isn't it? So we'll probably see the formation of the Resistance and potentially the rise of the First Order.
Okay, other series that are going to be on this Disney Plus. TV version of High Fidelity starring Zoe Kravitz. Pixar's Monsters Inc. is going to get a TV or a streaming version of itself.
Oh, okay. With the main characters.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Just doing the scaring business? And
I said, whether they managed to get Billy Crystal and John Goodman involved, or whether it's going to be set up, because they could have it at the same business, couldn't they, I suppose?
Same business, or go back to Monsters University and we could follow some other people?
Yeah. Also, a live-action reboot of Lady and the Tramp, starring Tessa Thompson, Justin Theroux and Janelle Monáe.
Direct to Disney?
Direct to Disney Plus.
Whoa.
So that's how much... investments, how much priority they're giving to that, along with obviously the Marvel.
Is there more money in this series, in this platform, than putting that out as a film? Surely not.
It's just to hook people, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it going to be any good? That's my worry. Is that
it's like a straight to DVD almost.
Yeah. If it's good enough to be a feature film, stick it in the cinema.
Yeah.
But if they're going to make feature quality films to stream, Steven Spielberg is going to lose his mind.
He most definitely is. The licensing deals they've currently got with Netflix, by the way, perhaps will play a part on when everything gets launched and when it gets uploaded or whatever you want to call it. They've confirmed that they're trying to get the rights back to some of its films that are currently on Netflix, namely the Star Wars films, and also ones that are currently being licensed by other TV channels around the world, so they can almost have them exclusively on Disney.
Yeah, because once again, you no point selling a service that you can get on ITV on an afternoon.
Maybe even on Boxing Day. Also talked about the plans for Hulu. It's going to be 60% controlled by Disney after the Fox takeover is complete. It's going to be focused on general entertainment fare, they say, while Disney Plus is focused on family-friendly material.
Interesting.
Like Dark Star Wars series.
Yeah, but I mean, there's an argument to say that the Marvel films are family entertainment. I personally wouldn't agree. It depends how old your family is. If your family are all,
and also whether you like your family or not. If you don't like your family,
stick it on. Punish them. Oh, I've stuck my neck. About 49 minutes. Just rotating my shoulder. We are in a hospital in case I can't move, but just sat awkwardly, and
he's had a tough day.
It's burning.
Really.
Talk, Mike. Talk.
Okay, so we're going to be back next week with another
trailers.
We're talking trailers. I completely forgot. I didn't. Yeah, thanks. You could have said when I said how long have we got. I didn't realise we were recording when you said 49 minutes.
Yeah, I was, and I was rotating my shoulder at the same time. I can multitask.
I just thought you were sort of going, come hither. Okay, then let's talk about trailers, and two big trailers that have dropped this week. Technically three, and let's start off with Disney, appropriately enough, and Toy Story 4.
Now, I've seen the first of the two. Yep. I know, rarely, actually, you've seen the second. Or have you read about it?
No, I've seen the second.
Oh, you've physically seen it?
I've physically seen it, I've mentally seen the second trailer.
That's kind of, you can read up and then you picture it in your mind. The first one tells you nothing. It's a series of toys all holding hands.
Does it, though?
All right.
You say, does it tell you nothing? Because we get the reveal at the end. There is a new character. You've got all the existing Toy Story characters dancing along to Joni Mitchell's both sides now in a sort of holding hands.
It's a spork, isn't it? It's like a spoon.
And it's a spork that is introduced called Forky.
A sporky called Forky?
He's a spork who's been given a makeover in a craft project, it's been confirmed, with the addition of googly eyes and pipe cleaner arms and legs, and he's in denial about the fact that he's a toy, albeit a homemade one. He's voiced by comedian Tony Hale, and at the end of the trailer he cries, "I don't belong here," wrestles his hands free and makes a run for it as the other toys topple over.
And it wasn't funny.
You didn't think it was funny?
No. I really, it felt very, very forced for me. I thought this trailer's going somewhere, it's going somewhere, no, it's going nowhere. Then there's a spork shouting at me.
But it turns out, that isn't just a throwaway gag. That is the important aspect.
Yeah, and that's what worries me.
You get worried.
Well, because I also have a fundamental issue with the idea of the child creates something and that comes to life.
Does that shake the entire world?
It's like Last Jedi type stuff going on in Toy Story, in the sense of surely the rules are that you go to the toy shop and you buy the toy and there's something mystical, magical, but are we saying that effectively child's imagination is the power?
And that when they invest something with toy life,
that gives them the spark of life that's probably not real. It's a kid's film anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, but this does raise interesting questions. Do you remember in the first film, Sid has all the toys that he's made up of mash-up parts of other toys?
They're made up of toy parts.
Yes, but are they? Does that mean they are new life forms that Sid has created, or are they old ones that are stuck together?
It's like a leg memory and an arm memory and like 5 different memories in one.
Yeah,
it's getting deep. And then you talk about the second trailer, which seems that it's all very odd, Mike.
The second trailer is a sort of reaction trailer to the first one. It reveals 2 further new characters, Bunny and Ducky, 2 stuffed animals who live at a carnival, seemingly have got, as I say, a meta understanding of the Toy Story franchise and responding to the first teaser. They're familiar with Buzz Lightyear's catchphrase "to infinity and beyond" and make lots of jokes getting it wrong.
Are they funny?
I think they're funny-ish, but it's a very different sort of tone. It almost feels more Shrek, more self-aware than it does Toy Story. And they even make joking reference to the fact that they thought Toy Story 3 was the last one. And when was there a last 4th film in a series that was any good?
Ha ha, isn't that funny? Until it's bad.
Maybe
but
so.
All the reaction, we've seen talk from Tom Hanks, I think, this week, saying that getting through the last scene was almost impossible. I think Tim Allen has
But
respond
didn't they
to
say
kids.
that for the last film? And
And where's Bo Peep? I thought the whole thing was a Bo Peep tracking her down type
I'm
story.
not sure whether that's
And now there's a spork.
not even a good spork either.
Not even a spike!
Are we moving on to trailer number 2?
What is it again?
Detective Pikachu.
Absolutely, I choose that one.
Okay.
Looks cute. Visuals look good.
Were you ever surprised by the fact that there was going to be a Pokemon film? Because there've already been Pokemon films.
Yeah, there've been manga animated ones. It's just one of those that I would have thought a live action would have happened before now, probably in an age when the effects would now look terrible. But I just can't believe that we haven't had Ash, the main character, and Pikachu in the flesh, so to speak. So I'd have Detective
Now we've got
Pikachu.
them in the fur. And a lot of people have been talking about the fact that they don't like the look of the new Pikachu.
It looks very animalistic, but it's just whether that's right or not. It's because you're taking a simplified manga cartoon,
2D,
yeah, and then
rendering it.
Absolutely, all the terms.
I never got into Pokemon. Never got into Tamagotchi.
Too old for the cards and things.
But the film doesn't seem to be focusing in on the whole story of Ash and the
collection, really, of catching them all and the competition element of Pokemon.
It's focusing on a human boy a young man, whose father was a detective and who has gone missing, and he has got to try and track him down, or is going to try and track him down. And the only person that can help him is Pikachu, who is a detective voiced by Ryan Reynolds in a very, again,
Deadpoolian way?
Self-aware Deadpool sort of way. The joke is that Pokemon can't speak English, but for some reason this boy and Pikachu can understand one another. And
it's Luke and Artu, isn't it?
they've got lots of jokes throughout the trailer where it's him going to people and saying, "Look, can you understand what he's saying? I don't understand what he's saying." And
Do the voice.
I can't do the voice. And then Ryan Reynolds says something, and we immediately get Pika Pika, because that is all that other people can hear. Whether that's going to stand up for 2.5 hours, I'm really not sure.
Can Pikachu stand up for 2 hours? Shrug.
You can't even shrug anymore.
Okay. Hurts. And now it's goodbye. 55 minutes, by the way, so I don't know what happened there.
We seem
Just riffing.
We were playing loose, and we hope you appreciated it. We'll be back next week to play even looser.
Take
I
care.
don't know about that, I'm not sure. Let's just wrap up now.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.